And the 3 recipes, we're going to do a healthy zucchini bread, a pumpkin pignon bread, and then we're going to do blue corn, but you could use white corn, yellow corn, any color corn, with green chili cornbread. Okay? And I'm going to start with the zucchini. And I wanted to ask you guys, I thought for the pumpkin pignon, we could use this, which is more of a cake pan. And for the zucchini, we could use this so that we have 2 different styles. That sound okay?
Okay.
Yes. Sounds good.
You always make zucchini bread. I guess with zucchinis. Yeah. I was gonna ask like yellow. Can you make it with the yellow squash?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Be delicious. Mostly it's made with green, but yeah, yellow's fine. Yeah. So first thing, your recipe says to use parchment paper, which you could, but I'm always one to grease. So whenever you bake and you want to grease something, what you're doing is putting butter in the pan and then just a little bit of flour. Today we're using gluten-free flour. So this is the flour that Trader Joe's sells, gluten-free all-purpose. And so it has in the ingredients brown rice flour, potato starch, rice flour, and tapioca. So we're going to use that. I find that this bakes really well. Has anybody ever tried this particular gluten-free?
Nope.
Yeah, it's a little more expensive than regular flour. So you have to sort of prepare. You're going to spend a little bit more, but it bakes up very well. So again, we're greasing. And then we're just going to, take our pan, and I just go like this. Follow it all the way around. And then perfect grease pan. Second one I would do either over the sink or over trash so we don't have extra flour. Okay, so we have 2 greased pans. And the next thing we're going to do is zucchini. And it says to grate your zucchini. Are you going to help or no? Okay. So we would just take our zucchini. You have to go by what you feel comfortable. I feel comfortable just like this, and then you're just going to grate. So hold your, and it's just using the big part. And we want, it says 1.5 cups. So I'll get a cup. And then you're just going to measure it. So 1 zucchini, it looks like, is about 1 cup. So it really is like 2 small zucchini or 1.5 big ones. I thought it was going to take more. So then we'll just grate
Luis, Margarita said that she wants to get in on Zoom.
Oh, she's not in?
Yeah, could you let her in?
Okay, where would she be? I don't see. Oh, there she is. Ha ha ha. Okay. So, close. Okay. Margarita wants to get in. Huh, Margarita?
Sorry about that. My mom, I was on the phone with my mom and then I was like, oh crap, I have class. I gotta go.
Okay. So 1.5, it's very fluffy. So if you push down 1.5 cups of zucchini, and we have our onion preheating. You want about 9 by 5 baking pan, loaf pan. And then what we're going to do is combine in a bowl. And I couldn't get any coconut oil, you guys. This recipe says 1/3 cup melted coconut oil or olive oil. We're going to stick to our sunflower oil, okay? And we're going to have 1/3 cup. So,
besides like a fat from an animal, like what we have sunflower oil that is like local. Is there any other kind of oil that is vegan, I guess? That
so you could use sunflower oil for this. You could use olive oil for this. You could use pecan oil because we're using pecan nuts, right? You could use, well, vegetable oil starts to mix vegetables, and sometimes the vegetable oil has corn in it, and the corn is genetically modified, so I usually don't do that. And then we're using honey today, so if you wanted to make this vegan, and actually this particular author, so I downloaded this from the web, she actually says to make it vegan. So if you go into Canvas and click on that recipe, she has directions how to make it vegan.
okay.
So you would use flax, you would use, no eggs, and you would use no honey, right? Because vegans, although some vegans are flexible and they will use honey, but anyway.
Are you
so
able
we're gonna-
to make your own oil?
It's very hard, but sure, Native people made, made their own in the past.
And that would take like a lot of initial ingredients too, right? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
If you've ever ground up peanut butter, you know how it floats to the top, the oil? Or if you've ground cashews, in a blender or a Cuisinart, right?
Yeah.
And the oil that floats to the top, that's what you would use.
Oh, so we could technically make like a pinon oil.
Sure. Any kind of oil. You could make peanut oil. You could make, yeah. And so that oil, so we want 1/2 cup of honey. So this was 1/3 cup. I just have to add a little more. Yeah, and that's how people would have done it in the past. And notice how I put oil in my measuring cup first. And the reason I put oil first is because then the honey doesn't stick. Can everybody, I'll hold it up in a sec. So honey comes out. See how very little honey, right? Sticks.
that's a good trick.
So that's a good trick to get, otherwise it pretty much sticks, okay? So I'm gonna take a whisk, and we're gonna whisk together the honey and oil, and then we're gonna add our eggs. And for this, we have 2 eggs. I like to use brown or local organic eggs, but I know they cost a little bit more.
Did you know brown chickens make brown eggs?
Yes. And there's other chickens that make other colored eggs, those furry ones, right? They make green eggs. So, yeah. And then, what's up?
Do you know any place that might sell turkey eggs?
That the co-op, because I know that's where Roxanne did for her diet for her community. Yeah, they sell turkey eggs.
Where at?
It's called La Montanita Co-op, and there's one in Albuquerque and one in Santa Fe.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we're going to add milk, baking soda, cinnamon, vanilla, salt, and nutmeg. Do you guys want to use whole milk? I'm going to use milk for one of the other recipes. Would you like me to use almond milk for this?
Will almond milk affect the flavor though?
Okay.
I mean, wouldn't it just make it more almondy?
A little bit. We are putting pecans in this recipe, so
Oh, okay.
I'll use regular milk in the pumpkin one so you can see what the bread looks like. All right, so we're going to use a 1/2 cup of milk. And when you pull up this recipe on Canvas, she tells you you can use any kind of milk. All right, so 1/2 cup of milk. And I'm using almond milk just because that's what I have. And then we're going to add one teaspoon of baking soda. So baking soda, definitely different than baking powder, you guys. So 1 teaspoon of that. And 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. I have organic cinnamon, so I'm going to be using that. Trader Joe's sells a good cinnamon. It's just not organic, okay? So you have to decide if you want to spend the extra or not. And then 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And we're using kosher salt. Oop. Okay. A little less. And then 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. And I wanted to show you guys a little chef's secret on this. So this is called a microplaner. Brandon, you're probably the only one that knows what this is, but it's a great tool that you can get on like Amazon and then this is a whole nutmeg. So instead of buying nutmeg that's powdered, what I do is I take this, it's like a little grater, and I grate the whole nutmeg. And it gives a better flavor. You can see it's actually a beautiful little thing, the little nutmeg. And then I just need 1/4 teaspoon. So I'm not going to use the whole thing. I'm going to take my teaspoon and there is my ground nutmeg. Okay. Anybody have any questions on that? And then I just put the partially used one back in my jar, whole nutmeg, and save it for next time.
Those look like some kind of nut.
Yeah, they do look like a nut. Look at that.
What are they?
They're nutmegs.
Like, it's not, it's a nut or?
So, it grows on a tree. Brandon, why don't you Google where? I think the origin is the Caribbean.
That was a good one.
Can you look it up on your phone? The origin? I think it's like the Caribbean, but it might be India and then the Caribbean. Nutmeg, cloves. I'm going to use 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and I'm using Mexican vanilla. So I bought this the last time I went to Mexico, and much cheaper than what we get here. I love vanilla. Are you looking up origin of nutmeg?
Yeah.
What is it?
I don't know. Guatemala and Indonesia combined produce 68% of the world's supply.
Okay. So I think we'll have to double check that. I think its origin is old world, but we'll double check nutmeg. Okay. So now we're gonna stir in the flour. So we're using the gluten-free flour, and we're using 1 3/4 cups.
It's indigenous to the island, the Spice Island, the Moluccas in Indonesia.
So it was brought over. I know a lot of it's now grown in the Americas.
What are you making?
Zucchini bread. So what we want to do is try and whisk to see there's a couple of lumps, guys. Get those lumps out.
Aren't you? Is she supposed to do the Indian way? Use her hand? The stirring stick?
You want to pour the zucchini in? So now we're going to pour. Your recipe says to add zucchini first, then flour. But I like to add flour and get the lumps out first, and then add zucchini. Just pour it in. And you're going to see Walter's hand. He's going to mix. And so here you want to gently stir this in. Okay. And why would I want to put flour first, then zucchini, guys? Anybody?
So that
Oh, because it takes the longest to cook?
Well, because I don't want lumps. If I add zucchini first and then flour, some of the flour could stick to zucchini, and when you eat it, you'll get a little pocket of flour. So this way, we mix everything first, then we add zucchini. Now we're going to add chopped pecans. Okay. And that's our bread. So it's a nice thick batter, not too thick, not too thin. And then we're just going to pour it in. Your recipe says that you can add additional cinnamon if you like. For me, I want to taste other ingredients. So we're just going to pour it into our pans now. I'm going to pour half and half. And that's it. So this is very easy, quick bread, you guys. Any questions? And probably a good idea to use a spatula. Easy. So that's it. So now it's going in the oven. And it says 325 for about 55 minutes. Looks pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's put it in the oven. And then we're going to do the pumpkin. And we'll make the pumpkin in the the cake pan. So let me get the next tray. Let's do pumpkin. So here is our ingredients for pumpkin. We'll get, and you have this pumpkin pignon bread. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna combine the flour. Again, I'm using the Trader Joe's, okay? And baking soda.
Is that
So
just
again,
like,
we're using, what's that?
oh, sorry. Is that just like what did you say? Non.
Oh, gluten-free. So you missed it. Let me read it again. Did you get the baking soda and the measuring spoon? So this is Trader Joe's.
Okay.
And the ingredients are whole grain brown flour, rice flour, potato starch, rice flour, and tapioca flour.
Why
It
don't
has
they all flours without gluten?
no, because they're made from rice and potato, there's no gluten because we're not using wheat. Okay.
How come we're using, because isn't gluten like affecting people and that's why we have gluten-free things?
Yes.
No.
Why like how come all flour wouldn't just be made gluten-free from the get-go? But, or I don't know, like what does gluten do? What is that?
It
So-
adds like a stretchiness to the bread.
It's the what?
Stretchiness.
The
Like-
crunchiness?
Like, you know how when you pull a bread and it like has those little holes and the
Oh.
gluten is the stuff that is holding it together. It's like a stretchy rubber band kind of thing.
Okay.
Well,
Makes sense.
Need one more. Yeah. So gluten is the part of the wheat that's left after they strip away the germ and the bran. So you know how you can buy wheat bran or wheat germ that you can sprinkle on your cereal because it has fiber so you can go to the bathroom as you get older. I don't know if you had grandparents. My grandma used to use wheat germ. Anyway, gluten.
But I think you can also develop gluten allergy by not eating the gluten, you know, like your body doesn't.
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true too. Yeah.
I read this article that like gluten intolerance is very new to humans.
Yeah.
And it's kind of developed over time, and they think it's from like eating like genetically modified things. Our bodies aren't used to taking the gluten in, however they're processing it differently or something like that. I don't remember. This article is like 2 years ago, or I read it a long time ago, but yeah, that's why I was curious.
I think we're doing it to ourselves.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
So dry ingredients, baking soda, gluten-free flour. I'm using unbleached organic sugar. And I'm using 2 teaspoons. Again, I'm using the organic cinnamon. And it lasts a long time. This says used by 2024. So plenty of time to use up all that cinnamon. And then that's all I'm going to add in this bowl. I'm just going to I usually take a spoon and mix it, all the dry ingredients, okay? So mixing together our dry ingredients, okay? So the next thing I'm going to do is mix my wet, and we're going to mix together eggs. So this recipe has 3 eggs. Again, nice organic brown eggs from brown chickens. Okay. And then we're going to add the milk and the oil. So we're using sunflower oil. And then Walter got this yesterday. So this is just regular milk, but you could use any kind of milk, okay? So we want half a cup of oil and 3/4 of a cup milk. Okay. And then the last thing we want to add is going to be the pumpkin. But before we do that, we want to mix. So we want to make sure our eggs are mixed. Okay. You could also use a mixer. So for this, I'm using organic pumpkin. And we want 2 cups. And what's weird is these little cans are not quite 2 cups. Sort of drives me a little crazy. So you have 2 choices. You can use a little bit less, or you can take the extra pumpkin and make soup. Because 1 can is about 1.5 cups. So, and for whatever reason, organic pumpkin only comes in small cans. Probably because they want to charge more. Whereas like the Libby, you guys know the Libby one? Regular pumpkin. So regular pumpkin comes in a bigger can. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's, I think Libby, there's another brand. But when I went to the store today, there was Libby or some generic brand. And also, if you didn't want to use pumpkin, what else could you use for this recipe?
Sweet potatoes?
Yeah, you could use sweet potato, or they also sell canned squash. Butternut squash would be delicious, you guys. Okay. So 2 cups of cooked pumpkin. So we're going to add that now. And so Walter just said, use the whole thing. So I guess you could just use up that second can, see what's left. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Should I just use it up?
Yeah.
All right, let's just use it up.
Could you mix it with like cream cheese and make like a pumpkin frosting?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, if you didn't want to, sure you could. Exactly. Oh, Margarita's going to make this. Maybe this is Margarita's final. Huh.
Yeah, I really like this bread with the elf.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so what we want to do here is we're going to mix, you guys, and we're going to make sort of a thick, evenly mixed batter. So always go around the edge. See that? Nice. Okay. So then the next thing we're going to do, beautiful, look at that. Nice. Is we're going to add our dry ingredients, and we want to do that slowly. Why do we want to do it slowly?
So it stays smooth.
Yeah, so we don't have too many lumps. Exactly. So your arm's going to get tired, but it's good for your arms to build up those muscle. Then when your arm gets tired, I'm going to switch sides. Do left hand. And my bowl is moving a little, so I'm going to show you chef's secret. If you take a towel and you fold it, okay, and you put your bowl on the towel, bowl won't move. Okay? So let me get the rest of the dry ingredients over there, the bowl. Okay. So I like to do by hand to get mussels, but you can use machine or handheld mixer. Okay. So now we just want, it's getting thicker. You can see that, right? And we want to make sure we get all flour mixed. And then I don't know about you guys, but I have to taste it because I'm smelling it and it's making me crazy. So take your clean spoon and, so good, you guys. Okay, so we want to make sure we're all mixed. And then we have to add vanilla. So again, I'm using the Mexican vanilla, and we want 1 teaspoon. Look, all those seeds in there. Can you guys see that? Those tiny little vanilla? The black speck is the vanilla seed. So make sure with clean spoon you get all that good stuff out, because that's where all the flavor is, in the vanilla. All those little black specks. And vanilla, smallest seed on the planet. Those little tiny black specks. That's where the flavor's coming from. And I love vanilla, so I'm gonna, could you get the Mexican vanilla? I'm gonna add just a tiny bit more than what the recipe says. Okay. So
Make sure you taste it with a spoon, that way you know.
I did.
Okay.
So I'm gonna add just a tiny bit, another splash of Mexican vanilla. There you go. All right, and then we're adding piñons, but we want our piñons to be toasted. So I only have raw piñon. You can buy them toasted. How am I gonna toast it, you guys?
Oven?
You could toast in the oven, yes, but I have my bread in the oven. So how about cast iron?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Are you doing that like how you did the garlic before?
yep. So I'm going to show you guys so you can see. So dry pan, what I usually do is just take just a tiny bit of oil, and I'm going to take a piece of paper towel and just wipe my pan. Okay, we call this seasoning, and then we'll put our burner down. Okay. So we're going to just turn it on and let it get nice and hot. And then we'll put our piñons in. So while we're waiting for that, this one we're going to make in this size pan. So we'll make cake pan. It works both cake pan or loaf pan. But since we're already making zucchini, might as well make something a little different. So you could just call this pumpkin piñon cake, right? Because it comes out moist. I do it all the time in this size or this style pan. So we're going to grease it just like we did the other one. I dropped underneath. The other part's underneath. The other part's underneath.
Okay. Okay.
And then same thing. We're going to take some flour and just go all the way around. Okay. So, and I'm going to go over this one for second one. Okay. And then same thing. You want to just spread, and this is the gluten-free. I wouldn't want to use regular flour if I'm using gluten-free to bake with, right? Because what if someone's allergic? Even that little bit of flour could make them sick, right? And there's a type of disease where people have to flour. Does anyone know what that's called?
Celiac disease?
It is. It's celiac. And so you have to be really careful, especially as a chef, right? So if I said, oh, yes, it's gluten-free, but I put flour in my pan, or I use a spray that has flour in it, they could get sick, right? So we don't want to do that. So you want to just make sure gluten-free all the way. So my pan is nice and hot. I'm going to just shake those nuts. You can use a spoon, and you can see them starting to toast. Look at that, right away. See the little brown? So pan is really nice and hot, and nuts are going to
You don't use
toast.
oil for that? I'm sorry.
So no, I just, remember I put oil on the bottom, I wiped it in, paper towel.
Okay. I see.
So, and then what you want to think about is this pan is really hot, and I don't want my nuts to cook too much. So once they start to get toasted, I have to get them out of the pan, or what's going to happen?
Burn.
Yeah, they're going to burn. Okay. So we have perfectly roasted, see, nice brown, but not too brown. So then I'm going to add this to my batter. So here's my batter again. And now I'm going to switch to spoon, or you could even use a spatula, and we're going to add the nuts. And you just want to kind of fold that in. And that's it. Again, this is very easy. So we have now 2 cake pans. We're going to take our cake pan and pour the mixture in evenly, and that's it. And then we'll bake it. So pretty easy. And I make this all the time at Red Mesa for catering. Walter loves to take this home to the Navajo Res when he goes home. So now we're going to put in the oven. This one goes in the oven about 45 minutes. Okay. And I'm going to put it on the bottom. I just want to show you. So in the last 10 minutes, look at that, guys.
Oh, wow.
So it's ready. See this, the middle's still very jiggly, but bread is cooking. Okay. So any questions on this recipe? Easy. All right, let's do the last one, which is the cornbread. Okay, well, you want to do this one with me? So for this one, we need chopped green chili. So 2 ways to get that, you guys. One, you can use either a green chili sauce, or we can take a chili, I only have poblanos, and roast them. So in the background, Walter's gonna roast these poblanos so that and everybody remembers, right? We're gonna use our grill.
Where did you get that from?
So I got this, that's a good question. I get these from the Santa Fe School of Cooking.
Okay.
And because I teach classes there, I get a discount. So if any of you guys want one at my discount, I can get it for you and you'll save some money.
Okay.
So they sell for about $34, I think 35 with tax, and I get them for about $26.50. So it's like $8 discount. Okay. All right, so step one, for this one, we're gonna use buttermilk. So we're just gonna, shake our buttermilk. And that's gonna go in a bowl. So for this recipe, we want 1 3/4 cups. And we're gonna mix this with 2 eggs. So again, brown eggs. And you can use a mixer or you can use hand. We're gonna do hand today. So again, we're just mixing.
Depends how hot the chili you want.
Okay. So next thing is we're going to start to add our dry ingredients. And for this, we're using blue corn flour. And I buy this from Santa Ana, but you could buy, Whole Foods sells it, Natural Grocer sells it. I like to buy native, so I buy from a native organization. So 1 cup, we're going to add that. And then I like to make this with the gluten-free flour. So again, I'm going to take out my Trader Joe's gluten-free flour and add a cup of that. And that way the cornbread is gluten-free. I find that a lot of people, when I do catering, are constantly asking, is it gluten-free? And this way, it just is, okay? Again, mixing, it's nice texture. So we're going to add 3 tablespoons organic unbleached sugar. And we're going to add half a teaspoon of salt. And I'll need the measuring spoons, they got taken away. And then half a teaspoon of baking soda. Okay. There we go. And then 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And what I like to do is I like to put on my food products, when did I bring it into my kitchen? And why would I want to do that? Anybody?
So you know if it's fresh or not?
Right. So if I have more than one, so let's say I reach into my cabinet and I grabbed this one. I know I just bought this, but I have this one that's open, but I don't know when. If this gets pushed to the back, then what's going to happen is we're not rotating our stock. We're not making sure we're using up the old first, okay? So for this one, 2 teaspoons. And I like the baking powder because it has that nice ridge that you can put. And then we're going to mix those ingredients in. Okay. Again, trying to mix all the way through. And then I need some melted butter. So this is definitely not vegan.
Sorry.
So I have melted butter. So we're going to pour the melted butter in and mix. Okay. And then for this one, I'm going to cook it in that pan that I used for my nuts.
Oh.
So same thing, I'm going to take my cast iron pan and I'm going to take a little bit of a piece of paper towel and a little bit of butter. Okay. And then I'm going to use my flour to grease it so it doesn't stick. Okay. So okay, good. So take my pan and make sure the flour covers. This one's a little harder, it's heavier. Okay. And then Walter's going to show you the chili that he roasted. So I made a little mistake there, but let's hope it doesn't stick. Okay, can everybody see that? So let's show the chilies that Walter roasted.
I'll do your thing first and then.
I need the chilies to go in it, so
Okay.
I can't. So I'll move this. And everybody in the class should know how to peel a chili, right?
Yes.
So I think everybody's done it. So Walter's just peeling that chili. And do you guys want to use both, some of this and the other one, or just the chopped green chilies today?
Both.
Okay, let's use both. So your recipe says a half a cup. And what we could do is just a quarter cup of the green chili sauce. And Margarita's probably going to add more because she likes hers more spicy. Maybe Fuku likes spicy too, but Jedediah is going to add less, right? Unless he wants spicy. Maybe Kelly likes chili. So
Mine's none.
Patrick was the one that was kind of mild. Walter doesn't like spicy. So we're going to take our chili and dice it, right? We have our skin. So this is a poblano, but you could use any kind of chili, right? The New Mexico green. What else? What other kind of chili could you use?
Very.
Ghost pepper.
I'm not eating your bread. Ghost chili. What other kind of chili? New Mexico green, Hatch green, right? So nice dice. That's nice. And then what I always do is I always taste a little piece so I know, is this chili hot or is it mild? This one's pretty mild, okay? So we're gonna put it in our measuring cup. And then I'm gonna show you some other choices. So here's another one that we found. And this one is Hatch Pure Green Chili Roasted. That looks pretty good. This one I cook a lot with. This is Rancho de los Garcias. Okay. But this one has also in it tomatoes, onion, salt, garlic, and vegetable oil. So which one you guys want to use? Want to stick to pure green chili?
That sounds good.
Okay, so let's open this. And then we're going to just right out of the jar, pour it medium. So Walter's scared. He wants to eat this bread. And he said, did you taste it? So let's taste a little first. It says medium. Okay, we're going to taste. Not that hot. Okay, so we're going to add a little bit of the green chili. And then we're going to put that into our, want to pour it in? Do you want to taste it so you feel secure? Yeah, you should.
More chili. The green.
This one?
Mm-hmm.
I want you to taste it first. So we're going to have Walter taste it. Is that spicy for you?
It creeps up on you later at the end. Yeah.
So you want to add this one or this one? Want to
think that
taste?
one, yeah.
Taste this.
Yeah. I taste the heat on that.
Here. So Walter does not like spicy at all, you guys. This is not hot. Right? Add this one.
Yeah.
He thinks this is hot, you guys. So we're gonna cut a little bit more of this. Give it a stir, did you?
Just a bit.
Okay.
You always want to taste, even though it says mild or whatever it is, some. No.
So can you guys hear him?
Yeah.
So even though it says mild, he doesn't believe them. So Brandon's from San Felipe. He can go hot, right?
Oh, I do not like hot chili at all.
What?
Yep. I'm weird. My family thinks I'm weird.
So you don't like it hot then?
No.
No. Okay. Yep. I'm sure your family does think you are a little strange for not liking chili.
Is Margarita there?
Yeah. Margarita likes it hot.
Yeah, of course.
I do.
Yeah.
Walter's like, is Margarita there? She likes it hot. So, and then I think I'm going to have a little extra. So I'm going to do one big one and one small one. So here's a small cast iron, butter, then flour. Again, we're just getting that flour spread evenly.
Here, let me do it.
Okay. Come on over here.
No, I don't do it in trash here. No.
So here's my big one. And then here's my small one. And I'm starting to smell. So let's take a look what's in the oven. That looks pretty good, huh?
That looks so yummy.
So what I'm going to do is I like to rotate. So if it's in the oven this way, I want to turn it this way because not all ovens are equal, right? How many of you guys have an oven that's hot in one side and not hot in the other side? So we like to keep rotating. So now we're going to take our cornbread. Again, probably a spatula. And I'm going to pour in my pan. And then let's get the other one. Here's the other one. Another cast iron, small one. And we're going to take, just put, so I know it's even.
Yeah.
I want to take a little out of that one. And the other thing that I love to do is I love to take these and make my cornbread in here too, and it comes out looking like a piece of corn.
That's adorable.
Isn't that cute?
So you can put in the corn husk too.
So I have a lot of these. You can get them online or in antique stores. Okay. So then we're going to put this in the oven. And the small one in the oven. And the oven is at 350. This actually says 425, but everything else is at 350, so it'll just take a little bit longer to cook. So we're going to check this in 15 minutes for the first one, because that went in zucchini bread. And do we remember?
Look at it.
Yeah. So let me get zucchini
Sticky.
bread out and see.
That's what we need to find out.
So the best way to check if it's done, I don't think it's done, is with a stick. We're just going to stick that stick in, still very moist, and see how there's stuff stuck to it? Little pieces of batter, that means it's not ready. So we're going to set our timer for 15 minutes and then check our bread. Okay. So that's it. So any questions on that one?
No.
All right, so I'm going to go into the other kitchen and we're going to go to, let's see, this one, pin video. Well, we don't even have to. Where are those three dots? Unpin. Okay. So maybe, I guess I have to. Okay. So let's go over the recipes, you guys, and then we'll check the bread in a couple of minutes. Okay, so first one, and this is called healthy zucchini bread from online. This is not my recipe, but I liked it because it said under notes, it said a note on oils, change it up. You can use chocolate chips or fruit instead of nuts. You could make muffins out of this whole same zucchini. Muffins would be delicious, right? You could make it vegan, so you could use maple syrup instead of honey, replace the eggs with flax eggs, and choose non-dairy milk. This author uses almond milk. And make it egg-free, replace the eggs with flax eggs. And make it gluten-free. She likes Bob's Red Mill, all-purpose gluten-free, but I like Trader Joe's. So whatever you guys want. Make it nut-free, just omits the nuts and don't use a nut milk. Make it lower in fat. So she says you can replace the oil with applesauce if you're following a low-fat diet. She said, but this bread contains healthy amount of fat. So let's talk a little bit about the fat, right? So it's a plant-based fat, so it's a good fat. But if you didn't want to eat the fat, she's telling you you could use applesauce. I think that's pretty cool, right?
It is pretty cool. How would you make applesauce?
Ah! Oh, dear. Turn this off.
You boil the apples?
Sorry. There. Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Though.
All right. How do I undo my phone video? Yikes. Okay. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
No. Okay. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, so we turned off phone. Okay, good. So, and it says if you love this recipe, you can try banana muffins, pumpkin muffins, banana bread, pumpkin bread, banana nut scones. That sounded good to me. So in your recipe that we uploaded to Canvas, all these different options, which I really liked. And then she also included nutrition facts. And I know Nia was going to include nutrition facts for her acorns. Fuku, are you able to find nutrition facts on wasabi?
Not yet. I'm still doing research on it.
Okay.
Where, if you came up with a recipe and wanted to have like the nutrition and all that analyzed, where could you go to have that done?
Well, that's a really good question. The only people that can actually have it done are what's called a registered dietitian. And there's a program called Nutrition Facts that they can use. But like Dr. Trapp, who was a guest speaker, like Brandon, if you wanted to nutritionally analyze ash, she might be able to help you. You could send it into her and nutritionally analyze it. It probably won't get done by the end of your paper, but she may already have nutrition facts on that for you.
Okay.
So do you have Dr. Trapp's information?
Yeah, I have it.
Okay.
But if I just came up with it, like if I wanted to write a cookbook and I had these recipes and I would, I would just have to contact a nutritionist.
Yeah, you have to contract a nutritionist, or sometimes for a fee, they'll let you join.
Okay.
And it's a program where you plug in the amounts of the recipe and it spits out the nutrition.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, and let's look at this one. So for this recipe, it has 3 grams of fiber, 30 grams of carb, 256 sodium, 37.2 milligrams of cholesterol, protein 5.6 grams. It's got a little bit of calcium. It's got phosphorus, thiamine, some B vitamins. So it's not that bad for you. So all of this information I put in when I uploaded the recipe in your document, okay? So this one was very easy. So step 1, the way my brain works, I want to grate that zucchini and then in one bowl, and then I want to grease my pan. And then what I did was I already had toasted chopped nuts, but for me, that would probably be the next thing that I would do, right? So I'm not scrambling to do it. And then we combined the coconut oil, and Margarita, you're probably going to make this one with coconut oil. I just didn't have any. And so what she says is if the coconut oil solidifies, you just need to put it in a warm place until it gets liquid again. So coconut oil, we use sunflower oil and honey. And then we added our eggs. And then we added the milk, baking soda, cinnamon, vanilla, salt, nutmeg using my little grater. And then we added our flour. Even though your recipe is going to tell you to add zucchini first, I bake a lot, and in my brain it says no. Add the flour first, make a nice soft batter, no lumps, then add zucchini. Okay?
I think that makes so much more sense.
Well, it does in my brain, but
yeah.
So anytime, and I've never made this recipe before, so this was brand new, you guys. We'll see how it comes out. But even if a recipe's written and your intuition says, that doesn't make sense to me, change it and make it the way you think it should be. Okay? So that's what I did. And that's a picture of her bread. So we'll see. I know. We'll see how it comes out. So the next one, pumpkin pinion bread. So that's one of my recipes from my cookbook. Have you guys ever seen my cookbook?
No.
Okay, let me go get one.
I don't think I have.
Is it the chilies?
No.
I think we all need signed copies.
Oh my God, what are you have on that TV? Gross. Look at your TV. Nasty.
Okay. So this is the cookbook that the bread comes from, and it's called Foods of the Southwest Indian Nations. And it won the James Beard Award. So for those of you that don't know what that is, it's kind of a big to-do in cooking. And both the blue cornbread and the pumpkin pinion bread comes from that book. Then this book I did called Taco Table. There's Indian taco on the cover. Navajo taco, yummy, right?
Where would we be able to like get these books?
So Amazon, or you can order from my website, but my website has retail. For you guys, I'll do wholesale. So you could email me privately. So wholesale price on cookbook, the big cookbook, it retails $35. You guys could have for $25.
Ooh, thank
And
you.
I think Amazon is probably going to be close to that. Amazon might be $28, but
But if we
anyway,
order them from you, will you sign them?
of course. Of course.
Yay.
And then this is the one Brandon's talking about.
Yeah.
Great chili book. So this I did with Mark Miller, and I did the photography. So my life before chef was food photographer.
Mark Miller is from where?
Mark
What
Miller, grew up on the East Coast, but he started the Coyote Cafe here in Santa Fe, New Mexico in the 80s. So he's a famous, famous Southwest chef, famous. They call him the father of Southwest cuisine. He really started, and he used to do Indian market dinners, in the 90s that beat any chef, any restaurant I've ever been to. It was amazing. Really, he was brilliant. He doesn't cook as much anymore. What he does mostly now is consult. He's what they call a flavorist. So people pay him to taste food. Like he worked for P.F. Chang's. And I don't know, there's a place, I think it's called Genga's Grill or something, where you go and you pick things and they put it in a bowl. Has anybody ever been? Is it Genga's Grill or?
Yeah, in Albuquerque.
There's
I don't
one.
know what that is.
Do you know? Yeah. So you pick different ingredients and they cook it and you get it in a bowl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was the consulting chef for that. So he has a brilliant flavor and he gets paid a lot of money to make, fast food taste good. P.F. Chang's, all these are fast food chains. And there's another one that the parent company is called Payway. I don't know what fast food restaurants they have, but he fell in love with Asia, and so he goes to Japan and Korea and China, and he goes all over Asia, and he just loves that. But he started out with Chili's in the Southwest. So let's look at pumpkin pinion bread. So in one bowl, we combine eggs, milk, oil, and vanilla. So any kind of milk, you guys. You can do non-dairy or dairy, whatever you want, whatever you have access to. Then we take our dry ingredients and we start to get those dry ingredients in. And then we add, last thing, nuts. And again, why would I add nuts first and then my flour? So the flour sticks to the nuts. And then that just goes in either cake pan or bread pan. So if you want to serve it as a bread, it would be really nice on let's say you wanted to do a big platter with some dried fruit and nuts, bread, maybe a little cheese, and that would be a lovely party platter, right? So this bread is not too sweet. It's more savory, more squashy. So that's what I like. Or you could serve it with, Margarita's gonna make a cream cheese and leftover pumpkin topping, delicious. Cut it like a cake, right? You could make a creme anglaise, which is like an egg sauce with pumpkin in it. You could do pumpkin ice cream or serve it with vanilla ice cream, right? Or you could serve it with a little whipped cream and add a tiny bit of pumpkin to the whipped cream, making pumpkin whipped cream. So lots of creative ideas, things to do there. Does that make sense to everybody?
Oh gosh, I want to make my own pumpkin spice latte with pumpkin whipped cream.
I know, I know. Is Starbucks open, you guys? I think places, I read today, Into the Anasazi is opening on Friday, so tomorrow. So hotels are starting to open.
I think some Starbucks are open because I noticed that the Starbucks at the Target isn't open, but I guess it might depend on area because at Albertsons, the Starbucks was open in their place, but then there was Starbucks that aren't open like as a whole, as a separate business.
Right. Okay, so you guys can hear my timer. I like this timer because it's very annoying. Walter hates it. I love it because it's so annoying that you have to pay attention. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take out our bread, zucchini bread.
Can I ask you about how to? I have these cooking vessels, I guess, but I don't know how to use them. Do you think you could see if you?
Sure. What kind of vessel?
So it's like this. It's like a ceramic or something.
Oh.
I got them from Germany, but I don't know how. I try to see like how do you do you cook them like just regular pans or?
Sure. Yeah.
Oh.
You could cook. Let's go to you, Brandon, so everybody can see. I don't know how to unpin this video. There you go. Yeah. Is it metal or plastic?
No, it's like clay, I guess, like a red type of clay.
So does it say you can put it in the oven?
No, these are like really old. It says West Germany.
So I would test it first.
Okay.
I would put it in the oven without anything in it and let it get really hot and make sure it doesn't crack. But if it cracks, you can't put something in it.
Okay.
The Santa Fe School of Cooking sells black pottery. Let me show you. So here is black pottery. Okay, and this is actually from Colombia. So this you can put in the oven or you can put on the stove, and it's called micaceous clay. And the native micaceous clay to this area is actually brown. Will you get that one, Wall? The micaceous clay, the brown one, maybe other. So there is another native clay to this area, and I'll show you what that looks like. Here's my bread, still a little moist in the center, so I'm going to put it back in for about 5 more minutes. So set my obnoxious timer again, 5 minutes. And now we'll check the bread in 5 minutes. So let's come take a look at the other pottery. So, okay. So here is the native clay to this area. And can you guys all see?
Yeah.
See how sparkly it is?
Mm-hmm.
So this is called micaceous clay. And this you can put on the stove or in the oven as well. But this pot, it's going to cost anywhere from like $300 to $500. So it's very expensive. You have to be very careful. But this pot, which is clay from Colombia, also micaceous but black, this retails for about $100 maybe 150.
So you're
And you
able to cook stuff with that?
outdoor oven?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Who wants to go? Brandon?
Okay. Would those be good in an outdoor oven as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So absolutely. So you could easily make, how do I, oh, unpin. There we go. There you go. So now I could see Brandon. So yeah, you could use this in an outdoor oven. A lot of people do. But this is also micaceous.
How
Okay.
come the one from New Mexico costs more, you think?
Well, labor and resource. So in Colombia, our dollar's really strong. How much do you want to be paid an hour to go dig up clay, make the pot, fire the pot, and then sell it? $3 an hour, $5 an hour, $15 an hour, $20 an hour. So here, Native people want, well, all people, right? We want to be paid a living wage. What's a living wage? Well, supposedly $15 an hour, but that's not really true, right? So does that make sense to you guys? And then who else was saying something?
Oh, my question got answered.
Oh, Dea, right? What was your question?
Just along the lines of like, so we're able to use that pottery for cooking?
Yeah. So I do have some of the really expensive ones, but I'm very, very careful. The pueblos that are famous for the micaceous clay would be Tesuque, Picaris, and Taos. Probably the most famous for that style. And the clay is mostly gathered from the Abiquiu area, so northern New Mexico. I haven't seen much micaceous clay in any of the pueblos to the south. Have you, Brandon? Do you guys?
Yeah.
Not really. Yeah. So different areas, famous for their different style. So the next one is the blue corn bread. So again, always start with your liquid. So we have buttermilk and eggs. Then we add the dry cornmeal, flour, organic unbleached sugar. You could use white sugar too, but I really like the one that Trader Joe's sells. And when my timer goes off and we go back in there, I'll show you what that package looks like. Baking powder, baking soda, salt. Then we add our butter, melted butter, and then we add chopped green chilies. You could use any kind. Today we did the poblano and the green chili out of a jar. So you could also do the frozen that you can buy in the supermarket. Frozen green chili would work really well. And we know Walter hates spicy, so he was afraid. He tasted that green chili sauce. He's like, oh, it creeps up on you. But I love spicy, so for me, it was perfectly fine. So here is the sugar I buy. Organic, unbleached sugar. Again, we wrote the date on. It's a little sloppy, but so we know when we bought that. So that was bought in February. I haven't been using sugar or baking that much because of the pandemic. So normally we would go through that very quickly. So let's take another look at our zucchini bread. Looks pretty good. And I'm just gonna now take a clean knife, okay? And I'm gonna take that knife and just go into the top, and still there's a little bit, see that batter on there? It's not clear. So we wanna cook it, I think I'll do another 7 minutes, okay? And then I'll show you guys in the oven. we have, I don't want to burn my computer. We have the pumpkin and the cornbread. So let's set our timer. And then the bread will be done and ready to eat. Any questions on any of the recipes?
No.
Okay. Easy to make, you guys. You could easily make these at home. And probably the hardest thing is just the baking,
I
right?
really want to get like the molds that you have and make cool shaped bread like you.
I make the little corncob bread all the time. So let's share screen. Mostly Walter and I, we like to use antique. So you can go to like any antique store, but let's look up corn cob cast iron pan. Corn on the cob. Let's see what it shows us. So there they are. Can you guys all see that?
Oh, yeah.
So here's Loge, which is a nice brand. Okay. And that one's from Sur La Table, and that is $18.95. They weigh a ton though.
That store is a huge markup though.
That's what I was going to say. They're really expensive.
There's a difference
So
between
there's,
antique and now.
here's Loge, which is a good, another one. So see, they probably, it's $3 and no tax. So let's take a look at that one. So these guys are a good brand. Oh,
It's heavy.
and there it is coming out. So that's, you can do a 12-inch or a 9-inch, right? Features made in the USA. I always like that. And then, so they're about, this one's $9.43, but look, it only has 5. These have 7. Can you see that? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So $15.95, $16. This one's an antique, $60 used, and it looks like it's in horrible shape. But you can find, you know, antique ones. I've gotten them for 10, 15, 20. So I
You
would
could go
not.
to Savers or something like that too. I bet they would have.
Yeah, I don't think I
Stuff
would
like that.
spend $60.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, so you would Google and buy it. You know, it's a great gift, right, for Christmas. There's one $14.99 from the barbecue guys. There's kind of a nice cast iron. This is great for cornbread. You'll see it has compartments. Oh, my internet might be slow. This is called countrydoor.com. I even think I've seen some of these at like Kohl's. And Kohl's, you know, they have all those coupons, right? That one, we might not be able to find that. But anyway, it's over here. You guys can see that. So, yeah. So that's where you would get it. Any questions? Okay. Anybody still out there? So we have a choice. The bread is still cooking. We can end the class and you can spend the last hour working on your paper, or we can continue to study from the test. What would you guys like to do?
Work on the paper.
Okay.
Will we have a chance to review again next class?
We're going to review the test again, so don't
cool.
worry. Yes, we'll have another review. And I talked to I talked to Nami, and she's going to set it up so that you can take the test during class time, but you could take it on your own. And if you don't like your score, you can take it up to 3 times.
No, what?
Okay.
Does that sound fair?
That sounds more than fair.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so Fuku and Nami, sorry Fuku, Nami and I discussed it, and it's been a really hard semester, and I'm so proud of you guys for coming to class and sticking in there and doing your papers and doing your PowerPoint. That I know it's been very stressful and full of anxiety. So I just want to applaud each and every one of you for doing amazing work and really, you know, sticking in at IAIA, and I'm very proud of you. I think all of us wanted to just shut the door and go to sleep when this whole thing blew up.
Thanks for sticking around as our teacher too.
Yeah.
Thank you, Louise. Thank you so much.
Yay. Okay, so you can, starting, I think she said Monday, you'll be able to take the test at any time. If you don't like your score, you can take it again. Or if you feel confident, you can wait and take it on the 14th. Okay?
Okay.
So up to you. But you can take it up to 3 times.
So we're not cooking then anymore, right? Today was the last one?
Well, pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to look at one movie on seeds, and if it's not depressing, I might show that for the last, like if none of you want to do the extra credit, maybe we'll see a movie for that last afternoon class. But yeah, so where are we? Yeah, because next week we do orals. Yeah. Oh, Margarita, you reminded us. That's so sad. Oh. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So this was the last cooking, and I wish you guys could smell. But let's go in and check one last time. So I think the only one that's going to be ready is the zucchini. The other 2 went in a little later. But let's take, I've got 10 seconds. Walter's going to take out the pumpkin bread. Can you just take it out and hold it for them? It's heavy. And can we give a big hand to Walter Whitewater for helping with IAIA cooking class?
Thank you.
So he's been so good. Take out the pumpkin. Yeah. So we'll show you pumpkin. So see, pumpkin looks pretty good, guys.
Oh, yeah.
But still, you can see center not quite ready. So that one's going to need to cook a little more. Let's show the cornbread.
So jelly.
I know. I wish we could feed you guys. So here's cornbread. Again, you're going to touch it. This one's close. Probably that small one's ready. Let's take the small one and cut it open. That one looks ready, huh? You don't think so? A little bit more, but let's take a look. Can you guys see that? And then you would just cut. But I think zucchini's ready, so let's get that out. So here's zucchini, nice and brown.
I
And
feel like I can smell it.
oh my gosh. So I'm pretty confident this one's ready now. So we're going to take out, normally I would let this cool, but we'll cut a piece open. Maybe I've serrated. Oh, wow. And that looks pretty good. So that's zucchini bread. I'm going to actually, it looks tiny bit more. Yeah. So the recipe said 55 minutes. I think that's pretty accurate. So we'll put it just back, probably 5 minutes. Okay. So there. So any questions on recipes? I'll do a still photo and I'll put it, I don't know how to put still photos on Canvas, but I'll put still photos on my Facebook page so you guys can see. So, and I'll say IAIA Indigenous Food Class. My Facebook page is Red Mesa Cuisine on Facebook or Instagram, okay?
Sounds good.
All right, guys. Woohoo! So have a good weekend. And on May 5th, we're going to go over the reading, and we'll do a little more study. And then we do our orals. I will type that up and get that to you. Then on May 12th, your paper is due. And we have one PowerPoint and more study for final exam. And then Thursday, you can take the final exam. And then Thursday, the 14th in the afternoon, we'll do a circle and wrap up the semester. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so it's getting close. So spend the rest of this class time working on your paper, do some research, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.